Okay, so we're going to take this original box plot that I made, but decided I don't want to compare height and drop box plots. I want to compare speed with height. So instead of doing height and drop, which have the same units, I want to compare speed with height, which have different units. So I want to create this box plot. And then secondly, I want to show how I can maybe take this box plot, which is showing two in one figure, and come over here and actually separate them quite easily. And so starting from this point where I've only got one. So you'll notice that when I select a chart, it's showing me the data that this chart is based off of. So the first thing I want to do is just make a copy of this chart. So you want to make sure that your cursor is showing this black up, down, left, right cursor. And what you want to do is hold down the control key. Okay, hold that down, left click and hold, and then drag over to the right. And you'll notice that the cursor has a little plus sign. That means it's going to make a copy of that chart. And now if I let go of the mouse button, now I can let go of the control button. It made an exact copy of that chart. Okay, so let me show how to do that again. So first, hold down the control key, hold down the left mouse button, drag over. Now this is important. Only let go of the mouse button. Now you can let go of the control key. And it makes an exact copy of this chart. Because we may want to keep this chart. We don't know. So let's just make a copy of it. Okay, so in this one, what I want to do is come over here to this data, and then notice that the cursor changes from this open plus sign. And when I move the cursor to the border of the selected data, it changes to the up, down, left, right arrow. And so with my cursor here on the border, notice that the border kind of goes a little more bold, okay, to show that my cursor's on it. If I hold down the left mouse button and then drag to the left a little bit, notice it's changing the selection to be speed and height. And now if I let go, now it's changed this chart where this is now the speed box plot, and this is the height box plot. And so it did change, the formatting a little bit, but it kept everything else. So now I can just kind of go in here and change this to speed. And let's make that in miles per hour. And then this one is height. And of course, that's in feet. And I'm going to add a few more spaces here, just so that maybe it centers speed underneath this box plot and height underneath this box plot a little bit better. And now, since I've got miles per hour and feet as different units on this scale, it's no longer just vertical distance. So I will change that to be miles, move that up, miles per hour, or let's see, I'm running out of space. Let's just put miles per hour or feet, something like that. Yeah, that'll work. I mean, this is just the best we can do. It would be nice, again, if we could have miles per hour on the left and feet on the right, but we just don't have that option. I already kind of looked into it a little bit. All right, so now we just need to change the formatting of these two box plots. So if you just left click on one of them, now you can format the data series. And under fill, we want to put no fill. So that takes the blue out. And for border, we want a solid line and make sure that it's black. Good. And let's make this 2-point like that. And let's come over here. So instead of being on the fill and line options, let's come over here to the series options. And let's turn off show inner points. Okay. So by turning off show inner points, it's not going to show all these points here between the maximum and the minimum. All right. And let's now left click on the other box plot and do the same thing. So we're here under series options. So let's turn off show inner points. And then let's come over here to the fill and line options. Under fill, we're going to put a pattern fill. That. And I don't want it to be blue and white. I want the foreground color to not be blue. I want it to be black. And let's say take fill and let's expand border. And we want this to be black and 2-point. Like that. Okay. So with just a little bit of, a few changes, we're able to create an entirely new box plot chart for these two random variables here. Okay, so what if we wanted to create one box plot chart for just speed and one box plot chart for just height? So what you want to do is we want to do the same trick we just did to copy a chart. So I'm going to hold down. So first, this chart is selected. I'm going to hold down the control key, hold down the left mouse button, and drag. Now I'm kind of out of room here. So I'm just going to go ahead and let go of the left mouse button. It creates a copy, and I can let go of the control key. And now I can just with the mouse button only, left click and hold in order to move this down a little bit. Okay. Okay. So now we've got this copy, but we only want the speed data. We do not want the height data. So what you can do is right click somewhere on the chart and put select data. And what we want to do is let's keep speed, but we'll get rid of height. So here's speed and height. We'll left click on height and choose remove. Notice it took the height data out, and all we're looking at is speed data. So click OK. And then now all I have to do is just change these axes a little bit. So this is speed. I'm going to take the units out because the units are here on the left. Okay. So we just very quickly made a single box plot of just the speed random variable. And now let's do the same thing here with height. So again, I'm going to make sure that this chart that I want to copy is selected. Hold down the control key, hold it down, hold down the left mouse button. Now drag. Now I'm out of room, so I'm going to go ahead and let go of the left mouse button. Now I can let go of the control key, and I want to be able to move this chart down. So with only the left mouse button, I'm going to hold it down so that I can drag this chart down a little bit and let go. In this one, we want to keep the height data, but we want to get rid of the speed data. So right click anywhere in the chart, choose select data, come over here to speed, left click it, click remove, and then click OK. And it should, oh yes, it did remove it. Okay, and it removed it. All right, so all we're looking at is height. So I'm going to change I'm going to go ahead and change this horizontal axis to just say height. And now I'm going to change this axis to only say feet. And so with just relatively little effort, we were able to start with this box plot, make a copy of it, and change the variables simply by dragging over. And then we were able to take this box plot, which had two, create copies, and just select one of the variables, one of the series out of the chart itself. And now we've got independent box plots that can be used.